Hello and welcome back to No Bullshit. Today we return to talking about those awful events happening in Minneapolis, Minnesota. We're of course talking about protests that have gone wrong and turned into all-out looting and destroying of the city. Stores have been taken down, windows have been broken, items have been stolen, and buildings have been burning. And it's a very sad situation that many journalists and terrible leftists have decided to take advantage of. Today we're specifically talking about CNN, the most biased and terrible fake news source there is, and they're really starting to milk this situation for views. Specifically, recently, one of their anchors got arrested, and they're trying to turn it into this whole race baiting thing once again. The same kind of race baiting that actually started these riots. These riots became a thing because the news and the media and the celebrities all overhyped this one accidental killing, this one tragically bad police incident that went south. And now that they race baited it, the whole country's involved and all of Minneapolis is up in flames. Really, most people probably didn't even need to hear about this story. It's a small accident that happens probably multiple times across the country, not specifically in this way, not on camera. I understand the very bad optics of it, but the point is these race baiters in the media caused this riot stuff to get even worse, and now they're fanning the flames once again. I've got this tweet. This is from CNN's Newsday, and they're talking about how the reporter got arrested, and they're trying to blame it on the reporter being black. I mean, it's the most typical, classic, terrible race baiting from the leftists, but it's where we are in the world today. This is what caused the problem, and they're kind of doubling down. This video has 17 million views. Let's see how it goes.
We can move back to where you'd like. We can move back to where you'd like here. We are live on the air at the moment. This is the four of us. We are one team. Just put us back where you want us. We are getting out of your way, so just let us know.
I already can tell this reporter sounding entitled. They're not moving. They're still standing right up against these cops. Like, why are you even there? I mean, they're trying to push the line. That's the truth. I mean, I understand they're reporters and they're trying to get a scoop and they're trying to get their camera in there. But if you push the line too hard, if you're right there in their faces and they're telling you to walk away, I mean, dude, you're kind of asking for trouble. I'm not saying anyone should get arrested or even hurt or anything, but it looks like the cops are standing a line and they're telling them to leave the area. It's a dangerous place. You can already see in this destruction in the background. There's smoke going up. These are state police. These are like the big high level, you know, state police. I don't know. They're just a step above the regular police, and they're wearing all this riot gear. And this press guy is trying to act like he's doing the right thing, but he's also not moving. He's also on the line. He's also in their face. I mean, I'm not trying to defend the cops too hard, but this isn't a good look so far. So here's the video of him finally getting arrested.
If you're just tuning in, you are watching our correspondent, Omar Jimenez, being arrested by state police in Minnesota. We're not sure why our correspondent is being arrested.
Hang on one second, Allison. Let's listen into what these officers are saying.
They didn't say anything. I can't tell 100% what's going on here, but like we saw in the first clip, I mean, they were standing there. They were trying to push towards the cops. Like, they're just too close. Like, this is a case and a thing that I've always kind of operated by. If you're around police too much, if you're too close to a lot of cops, you're just more likely to get arrested. It's not cool. It's not always right. Sometimes it's just the littlest thing. But if you just have a lot of cops around, and then you're just likely, if you're just pressing this line so hard, this guy was up against them, talking to the cops too much. I'm not sure what else kind of took place, but it seems like they're peacefully arresting him. And it just kind of cringed because if you look at the first shot, like, the guy is clearly like posing for the camera. He's like, look at me, I'm getting arrested, like, look at this. And they're just trying to use this to go against the cops again. This is part of the narrative push. There's a double push here about, first they're trying to act like there's race baiting, and they're trying to say, hey, this guy, this reporter is black. I think he's half black, half Hispanic. And they're trying to say, oh, he's arrested because he's black. And then on top of that, they're trying to vilify the police more. They're trying to say, hey, these police are terrible. They hate all the cops. They hate law enforcement authority figures. It doesn't make sense because they want to control the world and have all this power, but they also don't like the police and the military. I don't get it. Like, you need that power, that control to keep your places safe, to make things happen that you want to happen. But regardless of what this crazy story and the details are, the point here is, this guy's getting peacefully arrested, probably because he wasn't listening to their orders to move along, to stay out of the way of this sort of demonstration. They're kind of circling around. I think there's some more violence and bad things going on here. You could see some lights back there in the back. Yeah, they're just trying to corner off this situation. And clearly the reporters weren't moving. Like, he was acting like he was talking like, where do you want us to go? He's trying to act like he's pretending to be real proper. But I think his actions speak louder. Like, he was still standing there. He was still questioning the cops after they told him to leave. Like, that goes back to the thing I'm saying. It's like when you're driving down the street. If there's a lot of cops on the road, just avoid them, pull over the other way. Like, don't park next to a cop. Like, don't be around a lot of cops. Don't hang out in front of a police station if you don't want to get arrested, that is. I mean, if you didn't do anything wrong, you're usually fine. Like, I heard this guy already got released. Like, this was just probably an arrest, and then they asked him some questions and they let him go. That's typical, especially in this kind of chaotic riot situation. I mean, this guy is a big, tall dude too, and he's like kind of like towering over these cops who are telling him to leave, and he's got these cameras behind them. I mean, you could just understand where they're coming from, and they're not like really hurting him. I mean, they detained him, and the real problem, though, I see is the CNN trying to play this up. This video has lots of views. They've been playing it up on their news. They've been going over a lot of other stuff. And that brings us to these other points. I want to kind of just skip ahead here, because here you can see the comparison in a picture. They're trying to slam the cops and say, all these people that are against it are these big, fat, white rednecks. That's like a racist visualization of white people, by the way, but who cares? I mean, the left can be racist according to them. And then here's the guy saying he's back. There's the target that's on fire. He got out of the arrest. It wasn't that big a deal, but there were some other points here. There's another video. Third night of violent protests. This stuff is going on and on. Okay, and this gets to the more race baiting part. Here's where they start to claim like a white reporter wasn't arrested. So it says, a black reporter from CNN was arrested while legally covering the protests in Minneapolis. A white reporter also on the ground was not. Here's where they try to conflate stuff and act like this is a white versus black thing. But the problem is, we don't know where that white guy was. That white guy could be reporting from all kinds of parts of the town. He could be on the top of a building. He could be across the city where there's no cops. I mean, this one guy who got arrested, he was right there in the middle of it. He was kind of refusing to move along and standing up against this line of cops. And in that situation, I mean, again, I understand these reporters saying no one should be arrested for reporting. No one should be arrested for doing this kind of freedom of speech, freedom of press kind of thing. But this is a war zone, okay? You got to remember that. This is a complete war zone. This is like chaos. People are dying. It's basically martial law there. So yeah, granted, reporters should have those kinds of freedoms in normal situations across the country. They still do. But if you're in a war zone and there's people dying, people getting attacked, buildings are burning, the cops don't have time to mess around. If you're a reporter and you got 4 people there and you're not moving, he's just going to arrest you, throw you over to the side and get you out of the way so they can move on. They got to spread people. They got to get people stopping, collecting, and the cameras and all that stuff. I mean, it's just part of the process. I know the arrest seems meaningless now, but we also don't know what was happening on the scene. We know CNN wouldn't tell us. They wouldn't show that clip. They would cut out if, say, the reporter said the wrong thing, or they overstepped or did something else. If that was happening, we wouldn't know about it, at least not from CNN. We might get some kind of third-party report on this soon. But the point is, you're in a crazy situation, and they're trying to compare it to this other guy. We don't know what he was doing, but let's see what this clip says about it.
Been approached by police where you're standing?
No, I can tell you that my experience has been the opposite of what Omar just experienced there. Talking to police there, I identified myself. I told them who I was with. They said, okay, you're permitted to be in this area. As a vehicle came by, they asked me to step outside of the street, which I did.
So the police said you were permitted to be in the area. This is obviously, I'm thinking, the voice of a white reporter that didn't get arrested because he was doing the same thing and he just was white. Like, these cops aren't racist, okay, dude? They're not just arresting some CNN reporter because he's black. It doesn't make sense, especially in light of what caused all this chaos. I mean, that was race baiting that caused it. I'm sure the cops are being warned and told to be extra careful. And I think the real problem is what Josh here just said. The guy didn't have permission to be there and they weren't moving. And he was already discussing that on camera. He's like, where do you want me to be? Where do you want me to go? Should I do this? Should I do this? It's like, dude, walk away. Stop talking to them. Stop messing with the cops. They're busy. Stop trying to interact. Stop trying to antagonize them. Stop trying to over-explain things. Like, you're acting like you're not doing anything wrong, but you kind of are being pushy and not listening and not moving on. And that's the kind of thing that, yes, if you just don't deal with the cops well, you get yourself arrested. And if you're not respectful and you're just kind of like anti, just have this chip on your shoulder about everything, like, that's where this leads, and that's what's happened here.
I asked them if I can move back in. They said, yeah, you're good to go. So again, what happened to Omar there was clearly a lot different, and just something that we certainly haven't seen, where a journalist identifying themselves and covering a story is then taken into custody by the police. Again, the police knew who our crew was, who they consisted of. They saw the camera. They saw the live shot in progress. Omar identified himself very politely, yet they still took that decision to make that arrest.
Josh, I don't know if you could see what was happening to Omar.
Yeah, well, is it really that big a deal? You're in the middle of a riot. You're in the middle of a war zone. Getting politely arrested and then released a little bit later, it's really not the end of the world. This is just about the CNN and the leftists trying to spin this. They've got two angles right now. They're race baiting. They're trying to say, hey, our black reporter got arrested. Here's a white reporter who didn't get arrested, even though we have no idea what was going on with the white guy's situation. He could have been in a totally other part of town. He could have been in another city. I mean, we don't know. We're just supposed to take CNN's word for it, even though they've been lying to us for years. Regardless, what the point is they are trying to race bait. They're trying to make this a black versus white thing. And they're also trying to use this to bash the cops more. This is an anti-cop thing, pushing their narrative. And it's just very toxic and very wrong. And maybe if these people weren't so anti-cop and so antagonistic to them, maybe they wouldn't get arrested as much. Maybe if they were more respectful and just listened to the cops and said, hey, you want me to move? I'll go over there. But no, instead, the guy's like, you want me to move? Why do I have to move? What do I have to do? Where do I go? Why can't I go here? I have a microphone. Like, he's just in his face, and these cops are like, I don't have time for this, dude. They're burning down buildings. There's someone getting killed over there. Like, we have shit to do. We don't have time to deal with these silly reporters and their fake news. That's how I see it. I understand it still has some other bad sides to it. The cops might have not needed to arrest that guy. Had we known the whole story, we might have some more context to that. But I'm going to be here. I'm going to defend America, civility, liberty, and also law and order. Like, we're behind the cops here. We're not behind bad cops who caused that bad arrest that killed someone. Of course not. If someone is killing someone, if something bad happens, someone breaks the law, let's try them. No one's defending that. But in general, overall, the state police, the military helping out here, they're good people. The cops are not the enemy. They're the ones trying to help. That about wraps things up. I hope you guys enjoyed today's video. Make sure you comment your thoughts on everything below. Tell me what you think about this story, these videos, this sort of race baiting, and CNN milking this whole situation for views. Looking forward to your comments on that. Also, hit the like button, and until next time, you guys have a great day.